After my husband's loss, I discovered 30M. My daughter's demand revealed a life-changing truth. The afternoon sun filtered through the sheer curtains, casting a warm glow on the modest living room where Sarah sat amid a sea of her late husband's belongings. Every piece told a story: their laughter, their dreams, their love. But today, it felt like a haunting weight on her heart. Just 9 months had passed since the tragic day she lost him, and in that short time, grief had morphed into an unbearable weight. Pearls of tears escaped her eyes as she rummaged through the boxes. Then, like a spark in the darkness, she found it. A file, hidden, untouched. Inside was a dream he had nurtured quietly, plans for an investment that could net over $30 million. Her heart raced. Was this truly happening? Memories of late nights and whispered hopes flooded back. She could already hear the ridicule in the voices of the neighbors from down the block, murmurs of envy and judgment that would soon swirl around their small Midwestern town. Affectionate smiles would soon turn icy with resentment. Sarah took a breath, feeling Mr. Ziegler's angry glare before she even heard it. She tucked the file close and closed her eyes, overwhelmed. Emily, her fiery and spirited daughter, burst into the room, her vibrant energy filling the space as usual. At 15, her youthful idealism made Sarah both proud and terrified. "Mom! You look like you've seen a ghost," Emily exclaimed, concern shining in her eyes. Sarah felt the heavy truth hovering between them. "Just sorting through some of Dad's things," she replied, her voice trembling. The truth felt enormous, and sharing it was daunting. "You'll never believe what I found." "Something good?" Emily's hopes soared. "More than good." With that, Sarah revealed the file, and Emily's expression transformed from curiosity to disbelief. As her daughter processed it, she didn't hesitate. "We can't let this money change us. We have to help others. We can't forget why Dad worked so hard." Sarah's heart sank at her daughter's conviction. The pressure mounted. "Emily, we can't change everything. This is a lifeline for us, a way to rebuild our lives," she argued gently, but her voice faltered. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. "It's not just about us, Mom," she retorted, her voice rising. "We can't live in a bubble. Look around. There are families struggling all around us." The debate spiraled, sparking both passion and frustration, illuminating their stark differences in coping. The weight of expectations darkened the kitchen as they decided to host a fundraiser for local families in need. Initial excitement blended with fear. Would they change lives or simply stir more envy? Just as hope flickered, a competing neighbor, a man with dreams that were legs deep in greed, stepped in, threatening the very fabric of their plan. As whispers of betrayal rustled through their neighborhood, friendships began to fray. Sarah felt the tension, the suffocation of her dreams, as she wrestled with what her husband's legacy meant and how to pass it on to Emily. Just when they thought their plans would unite the community, a storm brewed, ready to test their resolve. And then, a stunning secret from her husband's past emerged, unraveling the last threads of certainty. How could she protect Emily from this newfound chaos? Would wealth drive them apart or bring them closer? The tension in the air was palpable as Sarah placed the file back into the box, her heart thudding against her chest. Emily stood there, a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions, her pale face set with determination. "Mom," she said, her voice a mix of fear and resolve, "we need to act. We can't just let this money sit here." "Act?" Sarah repeated, her voice shaky. "We're not ready for this. We barely understand it." But Emily's eyes shone like bright stars, full of ambition. We can't let Dad's dreams die with him. This is our chance. Imagine the impact we could make. We could help those families, people just like us. Each word felt like a weight pressing down on Sarah's heart, a constant reminder of what was at stake. Emily's passion was contagious, but it was also overwhelming. Sarah's mind raced with practicalities, counting the costs, the hurdles, and the inevitable scrutiny from the neighbors. Whenever someone else had money, it became a target. Would it even be worth it? Emily, she said slowly, searching for the right words. It's not that simple. People think, they think we don't deserve this. That we're just getting lucky, and that can turn very quickly. But Emily was relentless. Then we need to show them we deserve it. Let us create something bigger than ourselves. Why not host the fundraiser? We can invite the entire neighborhood. Bring everyone in, even Mr. Ziegler. The name hung in the air like a storm cloud. Mr. Ziegler was the embodiment of judgment, the neighbor whose suspicious glances felt like daggers. He delighted in gossip and often relished the misfortunes of others. Sarah hesitated, fear gripping her. Do you really think we can win him over? With a fierce nod, Emily strode out of the room, already making plans in her mind. Sarah watched her go, a mix of admiration and dread swirling within her. How had her little girl transformed into such a determined young woman? In the following days, the kitchen buzzed with preparations. Emily flitted about like a hummingbird, drawing up ideas, flyers, and plans while Sarah tried to keep up. They decided on a weekend date, their small home becoming the hub for a movement that might, against all odds, pull the community together. With each passing day, whispers of the fundraiser began to spread, excitement intermingling with resentment. Sarah could sense the tension building from her neighbors. When Mr. Ziegler was cornered at the grocery store, a condescending smirk danced across his lips. Must be nice to find money when you're down, he sneered. That night, the porch light flickered as Sarah sat on the steps, taking in the cool evening air. Rumbling thoughts of charity, resentment, and judgment crossed her mind. Was Emily's plan crazy? Or could they really create something that honored her husband and did good for others? The real twist was still looming. Just as Sarah began to embrace the idea, a package arrived at her doorstep. It was a letter, a blast from the past, filled with secrets about her husband. She had never known secrets that could change everything about how she viewed the fortune now in her hands. With a quickened heartbeat, she opened it and began to read. What if there were strings attached to the money? What if it came with ghosts that could rise up to haunt them both? And as her mind spiraled through the ramifications, one question overshadowed them all: could the truth she was about to uncover unite them, or would it pull them apart forever? Sarah held the letter in her trembling hands, her heart racing as she pored over the faded ink. Each word seemed to pull her back into a past she thought she had put to rest. Her emotions swirled a mix of confusion and dread. Unraveling the secrets behind her husband's dealings wasn't what she had signed up for when she thought of honoring his memory. What kind of man had he been? The father whose laughter echoed through their home now felt distant, shrouded in mystery like a fog that refused to lift. Her eyes darted to the sentence that shimmered with implications of risk and hidden intentions. Please, keep this fortune safe. What did that even mean? Sinking down onto the porch steps, she focused on the soft breeze caressing her face, searching for clarity amidst the storm in her heart. Just then, a sound broke through her contemplation. Emily's excited voice floated through the house, calling for her. The child with such fiery conviction, practically bouncing off the walls with her plans for the upcoming fundraiser. Mom! You have to see these flyers! Emily exclaimed, bursting onto the porch, her hands filled with colorful paper adorned with big, bold letters. This one says, "Together we rise." Isn't that powerful? The energy radiating from her daughter was intoxicating, but Sarah felt a lump in her throat. Could she step up and support Emily's ambition when her own foundation felt so shaky? Sweetheart, she tried to speak gently, we need to talk about things. About what? The fundraiser? It's going to be amazing. Emily's face glowed with enthusiasm, her cheeks flushed. Yes, but Sarah hesitated, the letter still weighing heavily in her mind. What if we can't actually manage this? What if something goes wrong? Emily frowned, confusion catching in her bright eyes. What do you mean? This is important, Mom. We're helping people. Think about what Dad would want. Those words struck Sarah like a bolt of lightning. What would he want? If there were strings attached to this money, a legacy intertwined with sorrows and secrets, then could they truly bear that weight? When silence stretched between them, Emily's expression shifted, her youthful zeal faltering with uncertainty. I'm scared too, she admitted softly, but we can't back down now. And there it was, her daughter's strength, a mirror reflecting back Sarah's own doubts and fears. Gripping the letter for support, she remembered what it felt like to feel brave. Okay, we'll move forward, Sarah said, her voice steadying as she infused it with confidence. But we'll do it together. Emily's face lit up again, a smile breaking through, but that flicker of anxiety remained, shadowing Sarah's heart. Could this truly be a way to honor her husband, or would it lead them down a darker path, one of more confusion, heartbreak? In the days leading up to the fundraiser, Sarah felt the weight of the letter pressing down on her every moment. There were meetings with neighbors, arranging for food and entertainment, and buzz from the community as they prepared to gather. Yet, the secrets kept playing out in her mind, blurring the excitement. As the sun dipped low on the day before the event, Sarah found herself standing by the kitchen window, staring into the distance. Would revealing the truth she'd uncovered help them? Or would it create fissures too deep to mend? Suddenly, she noticed Mr. Ziegler striding down their street, his eyes sharp, scanning the neighborhood. Her stomach twisted, he shimmered with gossip ready to spill. But what was lurking beyond the surface? She was about to find out as he approached her door. As the knuckles rapped against the wood, a chill of uncertainty coursed through her. What could he possibly want now? Would he be the key to the answers she sought, or a further complication? Steeling herself for whatever was to come next, she opened the door. Would she finally confront the unresolved feelings, or would what lay beneath the surface be even more painful than she imagined? Sarah stood frozen for a heartbeat, the door handle feeling icy in her palm. Mr. Ziegler's expression was unreadable, but the tension in the air crackled. She felt the weight of the letter behind her, every unspoken word pushing her to gather herself. Good evening, Mrs. Thompson. His voice was smooth, but the corners of his mouth twitched with something she couldn't quite place. I thought I might check in on you and Emily. The fundraiser is tomorrow, she said, trying to keep her tone steady despite the quiver in her voice. We're busy. He stepped closer, his posture casual, but his eyes were sharp, too sharp. I saw the flyers. Quite the undertaking for you both. Your husband would be proud. Proud. The word hung in the air, heavy with unspoken implications. Was he proud because of the potential success or because of the shadowy dealings she had yet to uncover? Actually, she began cautiously, I was hoping you could tell me more about the. He cut her off, his laughter light but thin as glass. The fortune? The investments? You're still not quite convinced he wasn't just a regular guy, I can see. A question bubbled in her throat, but she swallowed it down. He wasn't he wouldn't have wanted any of this confusion. Or maybe it's time you learned the truth, he said, his expression shifting, becoming almost serious. Sometimes, the past has a way of shaping the present in ways we don't understand. Sarah felt a knot twist in her stomach. She didn't want to peel back layers on a sorrow that had become almost comfortable, even as it gnawed at her. Yet, the undeniable Emily needed direction, and if there were answers hidden in the secrets of her late husband, she had to find them. Mr. Ziegler, what are you saying? Her heart raced. What do you know? A lot more than what you think. Let's just say, your husband had connections. And those connections have a way of coming back. They were meant to protect you, Sarah meant to keep both you and Emily safe. The weight of his words settled heavily in the room. She couldn't understand if he was trying to threaten her or enlighten her, but either way, it didn't bode well. Safe? From what? His eyes flicked toward the street, the shadows lengthening in the fading light. You need to ask the right questions, or you might not like what you find. Consider my visit a warning. As quickly as he had arrived, Mr. Ziegler turned, leaving her standing in the doorway, breathless. Memories of laughter, childhood dreams, and quiet moments of love danced in her mind. How could a man she loved leave her with such a tangled mess? She headed back to the kitchen, her mind racing. Emily's bright smile, the promise of the fundraiser, the hope to honor her father, they felt at odds with the fear tightening around her heart. Every step felt heavy as she thought about what tomorrow would mean. When Emily dashed in, bubbling with excitement, Sarah couldn't shake the unease. Emily held a soft toy her dad had gifted her, eyes sparkling. Look, Mom. I'm going to make sure everyone knows how Dad changed our lives. But did she really know? How was Sarah supposed to guide her daughter, to shield her innocence while fighting a storm of uncertainty? Emily, wait, she said, her voice thick. There is something we need to discuss. Just then, a loud crash echoed from the front yard, startling them both. Emily gasped, clutching her toy. What was that? Sarah's heart raced. I don't know. With every ounce of instinct screaming at her, she moved toward the window. Outside, shadows shifted in the dark. Someone was there. Stay close, she whispered. As her heart pounded in her chest, she couldn't shake the feeling that the truth they sought was much closer than she ever imagined, and it might come at a cost. What exactly was hiding in the shadows, and how much was Sarah prepared to fight for her family's safety? Sarah's pulse quickened, a mix of fear and desperation surging within her. She edged closer to the window, peering through the sheer curtains. The shadows were indistinct, flickering in the dim light. Her breath caught in her throat as she noticed movement, a figure lurking under the shroud of darkness, just beyond the reach of the street lamp's glow. Mom. Emily's soft voice broke through the tension, pulling Sarah back to the moment. Who is it? I don't know, sweetheart. Stay behind me, she murmured, heart hammering. Sarah's mind raced through all the worst-case scenarios. Was it someone sent by Mr. Ziegler? Or worse, someone who meant them harm? The figure shifted again, and Sarah caught a glimpse of a familiar outline, tall, broad-shouldered. The sensation of familiarity sent a chill down her spine. What if it was someone from her husband's world? Someone who had come to collect an old debt. Emily, go to the back room and stay there. Don't make a sound, she instructed, keeping her voice calm, though her insides churned with anxiety. Emily hesitated, sensing her mother's fear. Mom, please don't leave me. Just go. Reluctantly, Emily turned, her little legs rushing away into the recesses of the house. Sarah took a deep breath, steeling herself. She had to confront the unknown. With tentative steps, she moved to the front door, a slow exhale escaping her lips as she turned the knob. Each creak of the old wood amplified the tension between her and the darkness outside. Who is there? She called out, her voice steady but laced with apprehension. The figure paused before stepping into the light. Relief washed over Sarah as she recognized the silhouette. It was Mark, her husband's old business partner. He hadn't been seen since the funeral, and a swirl of emotions hit her at the sight of him. Conflicted feelings of loss, anger, and confusion twisted in her chest. Mark! She exclaimed, her voice laced with surprise. What are you doing here? I didn't know where else to go. His face was etched with worry, a stark contrast to his usual composed demeanor. I came to warn you, to make sure you're safe. Safe from what? What is going on? Before he could answer, a gust of wind howled, brushing past Sarah and rattling the window next to her. Mark's gaze flickered from her to the shadows behind him. Listen, Sarah, it's not just about the money or the fundraiser. There is more at stake. Your husband was involved in something much deeper, something dangerous. People could come after Emily, after you. At the mention of Emily, a primordial instinct kicked in. Sarah's heart dropped. You knew about this? You let me walk around, oblivious? I didn't know how to tell you. We thought we could protect you both without getting you involved, he admitted, shame lining his features. We. The word hung in the air like a threat. Yes, others like me, we were meant to keep an eye on you. You didn't want to be dragged into this world. The enormity of his words crashed over her like waves, and panic clawed at her throat. Dark secrets, tangled webs of her husband's life she was in way over her head. Mark, what do I do? I need to keep Emily safe. She said, desperation kicking in. He took a step closer, urgency flaring in his eyes. You need to find out everything you can. There's a chance they might come for you tomorrow, during the fundraiser. Make sure you have security. I can help you, but you have to trust me. Trust. That word felt foreign right now. As Sarah's mind whirled with plans and fears, another crash echoed from beyond the door. This time, it was followed by a sharp yell, then silence. Stay inside, she urged Mark, heading towards the door. What are you doing? He called after her. I need to see what is happening. As she stepped into the cool night air, her heart raced and an uneasy tension settled in her stomach. What kind of truth awaited her tonight, and would she be able to protect her family from it? The shadows loomed, and the darkness was thick with uncertainty. In the distance, a car engine roared to life, headlights cutting through the black veil of night. What had they stumbled into? And was there still time to escape? Sarah stepped out into the chill of the night, the air heavy with dread. The headlights from the car cut through the darkness, illuminating the front yard. Shadows skittered around her, whispering secrets that made the hair on her neck stand on end. She had to know what was happening, every instinct screamed at her to retreat, to drag Emily from the back room and bolt the doors tight. But that wasn't an option anymore. She had to be brave, not just for herself, but for Emily. Mark followed closely behind, eyes darting in every direction, scanning for danger. Stay behind me, she whispered, her voice barely carrying. He nodded, ready to take action if necessary. The yard, once a safe haven filled with memories, felt alien now, marred by uncertainty. The silence was deafening, broken only by the crunching of gravel beneath their feet. Do you see anyone? Sarah asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Mark shook his head, his forehead creasing with worry. No. But I don't like this. We should get back inside. A distant sound, the fading thump of a trunk slamming shut, halted them in their tracks. Was it a threat? Or something else? Then, emerging from the shadows, a figure stepped into view. Sarah squinted, trying to make out the features. It was hard to see, but the familiar gait, the way he held himself, this was no stranger. She felt a flicker of recognition, mixed with suspicion. Chris. She called out, the name escaping her lips before she could reconsider. The figure froze, then stepped closer, peeling away the night with his flashlight. Sarah, it's me. Why are you here? Confusion knotted in her stomach. I thought you were gone. Chris had been a friend, involved in her husband's life, but his presence now sent alarm bells ringing. I had to come. Things are worse than we thought. Your husband was into something dangerous, and they know you're connected, they know about Emily. We don't have much time. The truth weighed heavily, tugging at her heart. Each revelation, like a dagger, reminded her of the trust she once placed in her husband and the world he hid from her. What do you mean they know? Panic clawed at her throat. Who is after us? People from the old days, people who feel owed. This isn't just about the money anymore, someone's counting on you to play your part. Play my part. Chris stepped closer, the urgency in his voice palpable. They're coming for the fundraiser. You need to be prepared. I can help you. Just let me protect you and Emily. Fear made it hard to breathe, but somewhere deep down, a flicker of hope ignited. Could she trust him? Are there others? She asked, her mind racing. Can they help us? Mark shifted nervously, his eyes scanning the horizon. Sarah, we should go. This isn't safe. No, I need to understand. She snapped. If there's a chance, if there's anything we can do. I want to run and hide. Chris sighed, desperation lining his face. We can meet at the office after the fundraiser. There are people who can explain everything. But for now, you need security. I can arrange that. Mark stepped forward, determined. This is getting dangerous, Sarah. What if they come for you tonight? In that moment, she realized fighting back wouldn't just be about protecting herself. It was about safeguarding Emily and the small life they had left. I have to face this head on, she said, her voice stronger now. We can't hide forever. A low rumble echoed beyond their small world, adding tension to the air. Chris's eyes turned serious, locking onto hers. Then we need to act fast. But as she turned to start back, a dark shape emerged from the edges of the yard, creeping closer, silhouetted against the headlights. Behind you! Mark shouted, and Sarah turned just in time to see what lay lurking in the darkness. What were they going to confront next? And could they survive the night? Sarah's heart hammered in her chest as she spun around, the cold air rushing past her. The dark shape was like a predator, slinking forward with intent. Mark instinctively stepped in front of her, protecting her like a shield, though Sarah's fight-or-flight instincts pulsed through her veins, demanding she confront whatever lurked in the shadows. Who's there? Mark's voice was low and feral. The dim light from the car struggled to reveal the danger ahead, but the outline began to sharpen into something human, though it still felt menacing. Wait! Chris, what do we do? Sarah shouted, her pulse quickening at the sight of the figure advancing slowly. It's okay, it's Chris held out his hand, squinting into the darkness. Just stay still. But the figure advanced, motioning slowly, deliberately. Anxiety twisted the air around them, suffocating. As the light finally enveloped the shadow, Sarah gasped. Jason? Her husband's former associate squinted, eyes narrowing as the flashlight caught his face. I'm not here to hurt you, I swear. But there was a wildness in his eyes that sent chills down her spine. He stepped closer, and the gravel crunched beneath his feet, edging them further into the night's growing tension. Why should we believe you? Mark growled, still poised to protect Sarah and Emily. Because I know things. I'm here to help. They're coming, and we don't have long, Jason rushed, his voice rising with urgency. You need to get out of here. I don't want to hear another word from you. Sarah shot back, the fire in her gut igniting her voice. After everything my husband put us through, you think I'm going to trust anyone connected to him? Jason's shoulders slumped, fists clenched anxiously. Your husband was caught up in something bigger than any of us understood. I can show you the truth about the money, about all of it. I just need you to listen. Her breath hitched. The money? You mean the 30 million? What does that have to do with us? Everything, he insisted. They think you're the key. They believe you have what they want. It's a lie. My life has been built on lies. Sarah cried, emotion flooding her senses. What does any of this matter? Just leave us alone. Listen. They're going after your daughter, too. She's innocent, but they'll use her against you to make sure you comply, Jason added, and Mark's grip on Sarah tightened, panic intertwining with anger. Sarah's thoughts swirled like a storm. The weight of both fear and responsibility pressed heavily on her chest. No. They can't. They won't. Jason moved closer, lowering his voice as if to shield their conversation from the creatures lurking in the night. If you don't get ready for this fight, you'll lose more than Emily. You have to make a choice here and now. Join me, or live in fear. Mark, still tense and wary, looked at Sarah. You can't trust him, Sarah. This is a game of deceit. But what choice do we have? She whispered, feeling a deep sense of dread wash over her. What if this is our only chance? The tension in her heart was palpable, a chasm of uncertainty growing with every passing second. As the idea of facing not just the darkness surrounding her home but the darkness within her own heart loomed, a far-off engine roared to life. Please, we have to decide now. Jason urged, desperation painting his features. Sarah glanced back at the house, the warmth and safety it once promised now a fleeting memory. She looked into Jason's pleading eyes, then back to Mark's resolute stare. I don't want fear to rule my life anymore. I want to fight. With that small spark of determination, they prepared to confront the storm brewing just beyond the protection of their yard. As footsteps approached, resonating through the chill, the reality of their stand began to crystallize. But as the sound grew louder, an ominous feeling settled deep in Sarah's gut. What awaited them in that darkness? Would this decision lead them to safety or deeper peril? The moment of confrontation was upon them, and Sarah felt the ground shift beneath her feet. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for whatever came next. Let us get ready, she said, locking eyes with Mark. There's nowhere to hide now. And just then, headlights appeared around the corner of the street, illuminating the unfolding chaos ahead. Who was coming for them? Did they have a chance to survive this night? The headlights cut through the darkness like a knife, revealing a sleek black SUV barreling down the quiet street. It was too close, too fast. Panic surged through Sarah, her heart raced like a drum in her chest. She clutched her hands into fists, trying to focus. Mark gritted his teeth, and beside them, Chris instinctively positioned himself slightly in front of Emily, shielding her from whatever was about to unfold. Jason, who's in that car? Mark's voice was low but steady, still protective, still wary. Jason's eyes widened, flickering between the approaching vehicle and the three standing in the driveway. It's them, it's the people I told you about. Sarah felt cold sweat trickle down her back. What do you mean? What are we supposed to do? Get ready to run if you need to, Jason urged, his body tense like a coiled spring. I'll distract them. No. Sarah snapped, feeling a surge of defiance. You said we need to fight. Have you got a plan? But Jason didn't have time to answer. The SUV screeched to a halt, tires spinning on gravel, a figure emerging from the driver's seat. A tall man, sharply dressed in a dark suit, stepped into the dim light. His face was set in a grim expression, a twisted smile lurking as if he were an agent of doom. Let us make this quick, folks. His voice was smooth but laced with menace. We're not here for pleasantries. Mark took a step forward, his protective instincts flared. Who are you? The man grinned wider, eyes glinting like a predator sizing up its next meal. Names don't matter. What matters is your next move. Hand over the girl, and this can all be over. Never. You won't touch her. Sarah felt the words erupt from her mouth, fueled by a mix of adrenaline and protectiveness. She felt Mark's hand tighten around her arm, urging her back, but she stood firm, a fire ignited within her. Do you think you can protect her? The man taunted, raising an eyebrow. You have no idea what we're capable of. Jason moved quickly, stepping into view beside Sarah and Mark. You don't want to do this. You really don't. I think I do, the man replied, voice low and dangerous. You're just making this harder for yourself. Suddenly, there was a crackle of static, the sound of a radio buzzing to life from the SUV. Boss, you need to see this, came a voice from inside, urgency dripping. We've got something on the cameras, looks like more than just the three of them. A moment of silence settled, heavy and ominous, their breaths mingling in the night. What do you mean? The man asked, turning slightly, his focus momentarily shifting. That was all the distraction Jason needed. Now. He shouted that in a heartbeat. He lunged forward, aimed straight for the man. Sarah's heart stopped, a scream clawing at her throat. Mark reacted instantly, moving to intercept. Emily stood frozen, eyes wide, watching everything unfold with a mix of fear and awe. Sarah felt a swell of protectiveness. "Emily, come with me!" She screamed, grabbing her daughter's hand as she pulled her toward the side of the house. The SUV's doors slammed open, and two more figures emerged, both dressed identically, menacing in their bearing. "Stop them!" The lead man barked, and chaos erupted. Mark was wrestling one of the newcomers, Jason pushing the other away, shouting orders. Fear reshaped into adrenaline as Sarah felt the primal urge to survive grip her tightly. "Emily, we have to go. Now. This way," she urged, pulling her daughter toward the backyard, their only escape route lurking within the shadows. But as they darted through the gate, the sounds of struggle echoed behind them, mixed with shouts and the thud of bodies colliding. "Run!" Sarah urged, her voice fierce. With the moon casting long shadows, they sprinted forward, hearts pounding in sync, but Sarah's mind raced, a terrible thought clawing at her. Were they leading them straight into danger? What if this was just the beginning of something far worse? With the darkness swallowing them whole, she couldn't shake the fear that this fight was far from over. As they dashed deeper into the night, echoes of chaos still haunting them, Sarah realized the stark truth. She was no longer just running from the past, she was running towards something she couldn't see. What awaited them in the depths of the night? Would they emerge safe, or would this be a betrayal of trust they couldn't afford? The night wrapped around them like a heavy cloak, the darkness pierced only by the distant glow of streetlights, now fading as they ran further into the unknown. Sarah's heart thumped violently in her chest, each beat echoing her racing thoughts. She couldn't shake the visions of the confrontation behind them. The growl of the SUV's engine and the ominous authority of that man's voice lingered like a shadow in her mind. "Mom, where are we going?" Emily gasped, trying to keep pace with her hurried steps. Her small hand felt fragile in Sarah's grasp, and that sent a jolt of urgency through her. The innocent question pulled at Sarah's heart, and a wave of guilt washed over her. She didn't have a clear answer, and that terrified her. "We just need to get away from them," Sarah replied, trying to sound steadier than she felt. She risked a glance back, just in time to see the tall man pushing aside the others, his eyes gleaming with predatory hunger even in the shadows. Each step he took felt like it tore through the veil of safety she had constructed for Emily. No longer just a mother, she was now a warrior, and that mantle weighed heavily on her shoulders. They veered left, skirting the edge of a dense thicket bordering the neighborhood. It felt wrong to race through someone else's backyard, but there was no time for hesitation. Jason and Mark's voices called out faintly behind them, engaging their adversaries, but that feeling of safety was just an illusion. The real danger lurked in the dark spaces between breaths. "Jason! Mark! We have to go!" Sarah shouted, her voice a strained whisper, urging them on from the shadows. How had this night turned into such chaos? Just hours ago, they had been home, laughing and planning a weekend trip. Now, it felt like their lives hung by a thread. The three of them stumbled into a narrow alley, the walls closing in around them, and for a moment, the world quieted. Sarah pulled Emily close, the girl's body trembling against her. "I'm right here," she whispered, pressing a kiss to Emily's forehead, the scent of her shampoo bringing a brief flicker of warmth amid the cold fear. "Do you think they'll find us?" Emily's small voice broke the silence, piercing through the tension. "I don't know, but we will be okay," Sarah replied, the conviction in her voice wavering. She needed to believe that. "We just have to keep moving." As they crouched in the darkness, Sarah's thoughts shifted to Jason. She trusted him implicitly, but his plan had been reckless. Leaping blindly into danger had brought them to the edge of catastrophe. Was it too late to turn back? Just then, a noise shattered the silence, the unmistakable sound of footsteps approaching, heavy and deliberate. Sarah's stomach tightened into a knot. They were closer than she had anticipated. Shush, she breathed, urging Emily to silence. Her heart raced as she pressed her back against the cool brick wall, praying to remain hidden. As the footsteps drew nearer, shadows loomed into view. Sarah held her breath, watching as two figures emerged into the alley. They scanned the area, their expressions unreadable. One of them turned slightly, revealing a glint of something metallic, a weapon, glistening ominously in the faint streetlight. "Check over there," one man said, pointing toward the backyard they had just run from. For a moment, it felt as if time slowed, the air thick with tension. They were trapped in a world spun out of control, unable to forge a new path without stepping into an even darker danger. "Mom, what do we do?" Emily's voice was a mere whisper, a tremor that echoed the fear in Sarah's heart. "I don't know." The echo of the combat dissipated, replaced by an eerie silence. They needed a miracle. Suddenly, the alley felt more like a prison than a refuge. Then a thought hit her, a flicker of hope igniting in the depths of despair. If they could just make a break for the other end of the alley. But before she could finish that thought, a shout rang out, jolting her back to reality. "Did you hear that?" The chase was far from over. "Time to run, Emily," Sarah said, tugging her daughter's hand. This was a moment that would define them, and she was determined not to let fear carve their path any longer. Would they make it out safely, or would this be the moment everything changed forever? As Sarah pulled Emily along, the two ran toward the other end of the alley, adrenaline coursing through their veins like wildfire. Each frantic breath mingled with terrified thoughts. How could their lives have turned upside down so quickly? The sound of heavy footsteps echoed behind them, fueling their desperate flight. It was now or never. The alley ended in a squat fence, but Sarah's heart thudded with a sudden rush of hope. If they could just scale it, there might be more hidden paths beyond. "Lift me!" Emily cried, determination shining in her eyes as she reached for the top of the fence. Without a second thought, Sarah cupped her hands, hoisting her daughter up. "Go!" she urged, pushing with all her strength. Emily scrambled over the top and dropped down on the other side, her small form disappearing into the shadows. Just as Sarah prepared to leap, a low voice rang out, chilling her to the core. "There they are!" Panic surged through her. She could hear the men closing in, shouting to each other. Sarah leapt onto the fence, her hands grasping for stability. She felt her heart racing, limbs trembling with fear. "Come on, come on!" she whispered to herself, feeling the echo of Emily's courage through her. With one mighty push, she scaled to the top and flung herself down, landing with a soft thud beside her daughter. Together, they sprinted into the dense thicket, branches scratching at their legs as they broke through the underbrush. "I can't stop thinking about Dad. What if he knew?" Emily panted, the tears welling in her eyes. The mention of her husband cut through Sarah like a knife. The memories flooded back, the warmth of his embrace, his laughter fading like echoes in a distant hall. "He would want us to keep going, Emily. We can't give up." With renewed resolve, they plunged deeper into the dark recesses of the forest, the clamor of the world behind them fading to a dull roar. After what felt like an eternity, they emerged, breathless and shaking. In the distance, lights twinkled from the rooftops of their small town, a reminder of safety, a place they had called home. But as they glanced back, silhouettes moved like shadows among the trees. The chase was still on. "Mom, they're coming!" Emily cried, panic making her voice tremble once more. Sarah sank to her knees, eyes glistening with fierce determination. "We have to get somewhere safe," she said, whispering fiercely. "There's a place, remember the old barn on the edge of town? We can hide there." Emily nodded, her resolve hardening. "Okay. But we need to be quiet." They crept along the woods, fear guiding their movements. Sarah's mind spiraled around thoughts of Jason, Mark, and what they had just fled. Could they truly entrust their lives to people still shrouded in mystery? Suddenly, a cacophony of voices broke through the dense night air close, too close. They couldn't have gone far. Spread out. No. Sarah hissed, her pulse quickening. They needed to reach the barn now. It was their only hope. Finally, after what felt like endless seconds holding back panic, they slipped into the shadows of the old barn, pushing through the creaking door, a relic from a simpler time. Dust motes drifted in the scant light filtering through, having long been forgotten, just like a part of their lives now. "Mom," Emily whispered, gripping her arm tightly. From inside the barn, Sarah scanned the dimness. "We stay quiet. We stay low." With a swift motion, she led Emily beneath an old wagon, snug against the ground. As they knelt there, the sound of heavy footsteps grew closer, echoing against the wooden beams of the barn. Then silence fell. The tension hung thick as the air weighed down on their shoulders. Like clockwork, seconds stretched into what felt like hours. "Where are they?" came one voice. She recognized the ominous tone of the man from the SUV. "They were heading this way, we can't let them escape." Moments felt like eternity, each beat of her heart echoing louder than the tense breaths they shared. Sarah's insides twisted into knots, cabling fierce protectiveness and lingering anger for the turmoil thrust upon them. Then suddenly, a clash of voices erupted outside. "They're gone!" shouted a distant voice, filled with frustration. "They couldn't have gone far. We need to split up, I'll check the woods." That was their moment. Heart surging with desperation, Sarah pooled her strength. "Emily, we're going to move. Follow me." The weight of uncertainty followed them as they exited the barn, creeping through shadows like lost souls. But they couldn't shake the feeling that their escape was just the beginning. The ground felt unsteady beneath her feet, a reminder of the fight ahead and of everything they stood to lose. Finally rushing toward the road, Sarah whispered, "Stay close. We have to hurry." The streets felt eerily quiet, less familiar than when they had last walked there. But as they paused for breath under the flickering streetlights, they spotted silhouettes, far away but undeniably present. Figures moving with purpose toward them. In that moment, fear surged once more. Yet in the depths of her heart, a fire ignited, fueled by a fierce love for her daughter and a determination to protect what remained. "We keep going," Sarah whispered, her spirit resolute. The darkness may have shrouded them, but together, they would break through, forcing their way into the light, no matter the cost. And as they ran, the lingering shadows behind them faded, replaced by the steadfast hope of a new dawn. They would find their way. They would rewrite their story. Not just for themselves, but for everyone they loved. And as they raced towards tomorrow, the echoes of sacrifice and courage rang clear, a reminder that even in darkness, love could lead the way to newfound strength and possibility. As dawn crept in, unflinching and resolute, they embraced their fate, ready to face whatever awaited them, together. Now listen up. This is your moment to shine. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss our next exclusive stories filled with transformation and excitement. Don't just scroll, leave a like now to feed the algorithm, ensuring that more amazing tales can reach those who need them, and I want to hear from you. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. Your insight matters. Finally, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. No one should miss out on the inspiration it brings. You need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Your support means everything to keep the stories rolling.